Depin stands for decentralized physical infrastructure, and many top analysts are expecting that this will be the top performing sector along with artificial intelligence in this bull market. We've seen dozens of articles come out saying how Depin and AI are going to be positioned to be the leaders during this bull market, and many analysts are saying the same thing. And the reason why they are saying this is because many of these projects are going to be helping bring the next billion people online, bring the next billion people not only into the crypto space, but just onto the internet in general. So there's a project that I wanted to talk about that is doing something very unique in the crypto space. It's called PKT. It's launched back in 2019, and it offers a roadmap for open internet access, which is going to help bring on the next billion people, in my opinion, into crypto. This project, symbol PKT, is already available on some of the top exchanges in the world. It's up around 10% over the last year, but it's available on MEXC and Bitmart, which is pretty big listings to have considering that they're not available on all exchanges, but they're available on some of the biggest ones out there. So PKT is a project that is decentralized physical infrastructure ecosystem supporting open internet access and powering the decentralized web. Right now, they already have 16,340 users. Network bandwidth of just under 10 gigabytes per second. PKT price is sitting right around that 0.0015 per PKT. And the cool thing about this project is that they are going to be scaling the decentralized web. They are ultimately just like a layer on top of the internet. They are fully decentralized. They have payment rails. They're accessible and encrypted. And it's a project I think has huge potential. So if we dive a little bit deeper into what they do and why I think what they're doing with internet access and sharing internet access is so important is because ultimately with today's internet, it's been built in a private sector. So ultimately it's by individual companies and regional governments. And this has resulted in mostly centralized internet infrastructure, which is good in one way, but it's also a big problem because one of the barriers to entry into internet technology is extremely high. Because of this, when internet access is also centralized, users are subject to the consequences of monopolization. So like lower speeds, higher cost, and ultimately it makes it more difficult for people to get involved. So sharing internet access ultimately supports decentralized internet access with all of its benefits. This includes like free or lower cost, censorship resistant, expanded access for underserved communities. Also, there's new sources of income for infrastructure providers and increased privacy and security for both users and providers, and a ton more benefits, which you can see that they talk about all about over on their white paper and just in their document. So you could scroll down and see all of this information. You can see technical docs, their white paper as well. They talk about it there, but not getting too much into the details. Ultimately, PKT has 5 main ways where people could participate with the project. The first is that you can install a PKT VPN or PKT wallet. If you go ahead and you go and click on network, you can scroll down, click on wallets, and they'll show you all the available PKT wallets. It says, so whether you're mining PKT, holding PKT, or transacting WPKT on Binance Smart Chain, selecting the wallet that works for you, you can just see all the ones available. Some of these are already available on the Google Play Store. For example, PKT World Wallet. If you go ahead, you can see it has thousands of downloads over on the Google Play Store. You can also see that they have Anode Mobile Wallet, Anode VPN for Android, and this is like the first way that you could participate in the PKT project is by downloading that PKT wallet or VPN. So the VPN can be found just directly on the ecosystem section. So you could go ahead and click on ecosystem. You could see these different VPNs like that Anode VPN. You could also see all the other aspects to their ecosystem, other projects within the ecosystem. But like I said, you can see the available wallets and VPNs just directly on that network section. You can go to wallets and to ecosystem. So ultimately, by participating in downloading a wallet or a VPN, it helps to support the future of PKT, like censorship resistant internet access, and just continuing building out the project long term. The second way to participate in the PKT project is with PKT mining. So PKT mining, if you go ahead and look on their website, ultimately with PKT mining, it is that the PKT blockchain is the payment system within the PKT network. So the blockchain's infrastructure is ultimately expanded and supported by PKT miners. So in turn, the PKT blockchain pays out financial rewards every single 60 seconds in their native ecosystem token called PKT Cash. So these incentives are paid to individuals that provide bandwidth and processing power resources to the blockchain. Similar to how Bitcoin pays out rewards to Bitcoin miners, PKT miners also receive PKT Cash for providing that bandwidth and processing power resources for the ecosystem. So you can see that as more and more network users, as there's more bandwidth, you're going to be able to continue to earn rewards as a PKT miner. So PKT mining can be done from any device, ultimately, as long as it has a computer processor and the ability to install software, then you're good to go. PKT mining uses available bandwidth and CPU to help power the PKT blockchain. And unlike Bitcoin or a major blockchain that is very, very difficult to go about mining, it's extremely expensive. You can't even really do it from traditional computers anymore. PKT mining really is just as long as you have CPU and the ability to install software, you're good to go. Third thing, like I said, to participate in the network is that CJDNS node. So if you go ahead and click on develop and you click on developer central, I talk all about this here. So with CJDNS node, it's the routing protocol that provides the ability for PKT to transmit web traffic. So all web traffic in the PKT network ultimately is transmitted peer-to-peer using mesh networking. And the cool thing about this is that it ensures that all traffic in the network is secure and all websites built in the PKT network are censorship resistant. This is ultimately important long term because a lot of people are getting frustrated with censorship on social media sites, censorship from Google, and ultimately with PKT, their way of going about it, it makes it censorship resistant. That was one of the main reasons why they are, building this Depin project. So ultimately, anyone could go about setting up a CJDNS node with not a lot of effort. You could just do it just directly through this developer central page. Each CJDNS node plays as a passive yet important role in moving web traffic through the PKT network. So ultimately, you can see all that information right here with installing a CJDNS node, begin mining PKT, set up a PKT mining protocol, all of the different details just right here. And then last few things are going to be with the PKT VPN exit and hosting a Wi-Fi access point. So again, in this PKT developer central page, they have all the details about setting up a PKT VPN exit. And ultimately, this is something that is very important because the PKT network is what is called an overlay network, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So ultimately, this means that the PKT network exists on top of the current internet. So this is something that's very important because the PKT network, in order to access it, people must use a VPN to connect. Similarly, for websites in the PKT network to be accessible from traditional web browsers, web hosts must use a reverse VPN. So by setting up a VPN exit, which they talk all about right here, ultimately it helps the network grow long term because it increases accessibility. And it's important to know that operating a public VPN exit requires some expertise, but you can see all the details right here. Last thing I do want to talk about is going to be hosting that Wi-Fi access point. So hosting a Wi-Fi access point is something that is very simple in its design and very simple for people to understand because hosting a Wi-Fi access point helps expand internet access across the world. So it's very similar to when a business or a restaurant or a hotel or any of those big businesses offers guest Wi-Fi. Many businesses already have this sort of guest Wi-Fi, so it's very easy to understand because a company that goes about choosing to offer or a person who chooses to offer a Wi-Fi access point to the PK network ultimately involves just getting hardware, which can be an off-the-shelf hardware antenna. However, the open source software to operate a Wi-Fi access point currently requires some technical expertise. And again, you can see all those details if you click on Read Docs. It'll be in the Docs section for hosting a Wi-Fi access point. But ultimately, there's already a number of projects out there that already do this. So for example, one company in the PKT ecosystem, if we go back to the website, we go over to network and click on ecosystem. If we scroll down, we can see that there's a project called Rowdy. So if we click on Rowdy, it sells a Wi-Fi access point hardware with easy to use software for Wi-Fi sharing. The Rowdy product ultimately creates a mesh network and enables guests to get online for free without requiring a password. So you can see all this information right here, but they make it very, very simple to host a Wi-Fi access point. So ultimately, the PKT project is focused on helping the next billion people get online, ultimately also getting into the crypto space. So by empowering individuals to safely share their internet, this expands the decentralized internet access around the world, which makes it very easy for people to get involved with. The PKT network also, if you look on their website, and like we've talked about, the PKT network also enables people to build websites with decentralized web, which are globally accessible. So using the PKT network, the PKT blockchain also offers an integrated payment solution where websites built in the network can receive PKT payments directly to their web URL. They're doing so many more things that make it so simple. So I think this project could really be the next major Depin project during this bull market. There's projects in the Depin space with over $4 billion market cap. At one point, there was some as high as $5 billion market caps. And I think that PKT, being around since 2019, having a strong team, continuing to develop, is a project that I really think has a ton of potential in this bull market. So like I said, the symbol is PKT. It's available on MEXC and Bitmart, and I did recently buy some over on MEXC, but it's also available on Bitmart